Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Charles, and I welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have another interesting episode for you guys. But before we get into it, make sure you go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And with that being said, let me get into this video here. Now, I'm sure the majority of you know by now the drama between Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan, right? It is something that we covered a lot last year, and it seemed to be a situation that just kind of came out of the blue. For many of us that were on the outside looking in, we always believed that Jordan and Scottie Pippen were always close. We always believed that because every time we saw them together, they always seemed jovial and friendly, right? If you go look at videos when they were teammates, even after post retirement, you see videos of them. There was a video with them, like Jordan was in the skybox watching the game, and Scottie Pippen came behind him and they hugged, and they were. So we always thought that these guys had a good relationship, up until when Scottie Pippen last year went on the Dan Patrick Show, and he started to take shots at his former coach in Phil Jackson and his former teammate in Michael Jordan, and it was something that caught, I think, the majority of us by surprise. And it was so surprising, or it was so jarring, that it even made major media news. It was on ESPN, it was on FS1, all of these different shows were talking about it. But little did we know that interview on the Dan Patrick show was only the beginning. Because Scottie Pippen decided to take things further when he decided that he was going to release his book called Unguarded. And during his press run, whatever opportunity that he had, whenever there was a chance for him to speak, he took a shot at Michael Jordan. I mean, it was to the point where we were like, really? Like, you had all of this inside of you all these years, and all of a sudden, like, you're just coming out here and just, taking shots at the guy. I mean, it was crazy. And it caught a lot of people off guard. And I think that it got so bad. It got to a certain point where Stephen A. Smith broke a story on ESPN First Take when they were talking about it. And he said that the part that really stood out to him and the part that really stood out to Jordan was when Scottie Pippen said his only regret was not expressing his condolences to Jordan after his father passed. And when Jordan heard that, for him, that was the final straw. And that statement by Scottie Pippen was the one that really burnt the bridge down. Well, it looks as if Scottie Pippen is back at it again, and it looks as if Michael Jordan is finally breaking his silence and is commenting on this situation, this whole drama between him and Scottie Pippen, and he's finally given his thoughts in an article that we recently got from sportscasting.com. And by the way, this article was sent to us by one of our followers or supporters on Instagram. His name is Eric Square. So Eric's on Instagram, yes, Eric Square. So thank you for sending us this article. So I just want to quickly get into this article. Then I want to come back and give you guys my thoughts. So the article starts off, Michael Jordan apologized to Scottie Pippen for covering playoff series against Knicks, where Pippen refused to go into the game on the final play in The Last Dance. In episode 7 of ESPN's Last Dance docuseries, the popular 10-part documentary covered the Bulls' 1994 playoff series against the New York Knicks. Michael Jordan was playing baseline for the Birmingham Barons, so Scottie Pippen was the Bulls' best player and leader. However, Pippen didn't act like the leader in Game 3. He refused to go into the game on the final play after Phil Jackson dropped the game-winning shot for Tony Kukoc. Since Jordan wasn't on the Bulls, Pippen didn't think The Last Dance would cover his decision not to enter the game, but the docuseries did, and the small forward was furious at Jordan. It continues on. In his memoir, Unguarded, Pippen wrote that he and Jordan had talked about the 1.8 seconds game being in The Last Dance. According to Pippen, Jordan, who had editorial control over the docuseries, apologized to him. I asked him why he allowed the 1.8 seconds game to make the final cut. Pippen wrote, he didn't say much other than he apologized and acknowledged it, that if it were him, he too would be upset. I didn't press any further. I knew it would be no good. Those were Scottie Pippen's comments about what Michael Jordan had to say to him. Here are my thoughts, and I have a lot of thoughts. I still find this entire story in this situation to be confounding. It's still very perplexing to me when you kind of try to follow this series of events and you try to make sense with you try to make sense out of it. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure if I believe what Scottie Pippen just said, if I'm being 100% honest with you. First of all, When Scottie Pippen said he regretted not expressing his condolences to Jordan when his father passed, that's something that stood out to me. Why? Because Michael Jordan's father was killed on July 23rd, 1993. Okay? 1993. Scottie Pippen was drafted by the Chicago Bulls the year I was born in 1987, which means that prior to Jordan's father being killed, Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan were teammates already for 5-6 years. They were already teammates, so they already knew each other. So if Pippen was drafted in 1987, they were teammates for 6 years. So my question is, what was said in the Last Dance documentary have to do with which came out in April 2020? What did that have to do with the fact of you not expressing your condolences to Michael Jordan for something that happened in 1993? If you're truly upset, if this entire thing was about that, 1.8 seconds game in game 3 where you refused not to go back in the game, if this is all this is about, why didn't you express your condolences to your teammate when his father passed in 1993? Help me understand that. To me, I personally just believe that Scottie Pippen is not being forthcoming. I believe that Scottie Pippen never liked Michael Jordan. When he was doing his press run, Scottie said that he thought Jordan was a teammate. He didn't give he thought Jordan was selfish. He didn't give any of his teammates credit. These are things that happened 20 years ago. The Chicago Bulls, they broke up that team after the 1997-1998 season. They were no longer teammates after that point. So if you felt that way about Jordan, you telling me that all of a sudden you had a eureka moment and those thoughts about him being a selfish teammate, not giving his teammates credit, taking all the limelight, that just occurred to you when the Last Dance documentary series came out and when he put in that game 3 situation with you to decide not to go into game 3, that's when all of those things started occurring to you? You just realized all of this about Jordan in April 2020? That's when you realized that? To me, I think Scottie Pippen was saying all of those things for one simple reason. He was trying to sell a book. I believe Scottie Pippen was trying to sell a book, and therefore he was going to say whatever it took to sell that book. I'm not calling him a liar. I'm certainly not calling the man a liar. All I'm saying is that these series of events are not adding up to me. It doesn't make sense to me. Scottie Pippen is saying his major issue with Jordan was the fact that they put that part of his career in the Last Dance documentary while he wasn't even a Chicago Bulls. Fine. But nevertheless, during his press run, he said that he regretted that he didn't apologize to Jordan after his father died, which happened in 1993. He also said that Jordan was a selfish teammate, which is only information he could have gotten when they were playing together in the 90s. And all of a sudden, you're telling me that the only reason you're upset is because of that? And meanwhile, you're saying all of these different things about him? To me, it makes no sense. And now you're saying that you spoke to Jordan and Jordan apologized to you. Maybe it happened. Maybe it didn't happen. I don't know. I don't believe it. The entire thing doesn't make sense to me. And I think in the long run, he's going to realize that it wasn't worth it. It just wasn't worth it. I think Scottie ended up doing more damage to his own public image than anything else. The money that you're going to make off of that book is not going to fix your public image. Just yesterday, I was listening to Draymond Green talk to Gary Payton, and he was talking about his favorite defensive players of all time, and he was going to say that Scottie Pippen was going to, but then he said he just didn't like some of the things that Scottie Pippen was doing, so therefore he removed them off the list. What he said, he just didn't like what Scottie was doing. And I think a lot of people are walking away from this situation with a bad taste in their mouth, saying to themselves, why did you do it? Was it really worth it? It's a head-scratching situation. But apparently, according to Scottie Pippen, he spoke to Jordan, and this is what Jordan said. So for the viewing public, for you guys watching this video, it's up to you to make sense of it. So what I want to know from you guys is, number one, what do you think about this entire situation? Number two, what do you think about Jordan's comments? And number three, do you even believe that Michael Jordan said at the Scottie Pippen. Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro. Wishing you guys an amazing day and catch you guys on the next episode.